Дорогие друзья,
Hello, dear friends.
приветствую вас
Welcome
в первом
to
вебинаре
the first webinar
DigiU
of
в 2023
the
году.
ecosystem
Меня зовут
DigiU in
Алексей.
2023. My name is Alexey Ognev. I am the CEO of DigiU ecosystem.
Открывается
Okay,
этот год.
this webinar will be
Самое
kind of
важное,
opening webinar,
может происходить
and the most important here will be your questions.
какими-то событиями,
In the first time, in the first part of the webinar, I'll share our news, our plans, but the most importantly is to talk
те вопросы,
with you and answer your questions, which are of interest,
продвигающими и
and I want them to be useful for
аудитории.
our audience,
Старайтесь думать о тех, кто смотрит,
because
чтобы ваш вопрос был
that's really important to make these questions and answers
легко узнать в чате или там,
developing for our
какая же эмиссия
communication.
экосистемы DigiU. 200 миллиардов, 200 миллионов, 10 миллионов, да, или там, чем же занимается экосистема.
And
Нет, давайте поговорим о
we're not going to talk about some
брендах, о сделках,
details, but about important deals or plans, and maybe you'll hear something interesting from the first part of webinar, and I would
сегодняшний первый вебинар
I would appreciate some interesting questions.
интересней, полезней для всех.
So let's make this webinar useful and interesting for everybody.
События, которые мне
Okay, the first part of webinar will be about
повлияли на экосистему,
the most interesting events,
пока я
and the second one will be about your questions.
вы, соответственно, пишите вопросы.
So please write your questions in your chats.
Всем все понятно? Давайте.
I guess everything is clear. Let's start.
Прошлый год мы завершили
Last year,
тем, что провели большую конференцию, вернулись из
we
поездки,
ended with a large conference.
ну и, соответственно, уже
We shared
начали
information about our roadshow, and we
результатов и
have already started to achieve
которая закрывала
new results. And the most important event
цикл
that closed our 3 months cycle of events
в сентябре были одни
from October,
начались там и снапшот EYWA там, и мы рассказали о
and it was a snapshot of EYWA, and we've done X11 promotion. Then we go to India, got a lot of news from there,
конференция с
and an annual conference with the reports and plans. So this cycle of events ended with dividends payout on 15th of January this year, and all the investors got their dividends. We are really proud that this is the 5th time we pay and we
да, и не просто в том формате, что мы
we observe our obligations, and
на наших продуктах и выплачиваем дивиденды.
we earn and pay dividends
И, собственно, вот это
to all securities
в тонусе мы всегда понимаем
shareholders.
исследовательской работы,
And that was a kind of research work.
в первую очередь
It is clear that part of our work is research of some trends, and we have a blockchain laboratory and artificial intelligence departments,
называется бизнес,
and all this we call business, and
менять инвестиции,
it is to use correctly our investments and
экосистему
to manage and earn correctly.
будущее. И, собственно, это
And that's why
интересует всех
the technology has future,
человек
and that is
в любой стране мира, который совершает
what our investors
либо какая-то
interested in,
организация, ведущая инвестиционную деятельность, фонд.
whether it is organization or
Вот, и, собственно, пятая выплата дивидендов.
ordinary person. And the 5th payout of dividends
Если там посмотреть
just proves
долей, да, к моменту распределения
my words,
больше, с учетом процедуры
because
11
by the date of allocation, we had $2.2 billion, and to this amount we allocated $89,000. And that's great. And what I was glad about, that dividends have not become less throughout these 6 not easy months. A lot of difficult events had place this year. We had a lot of challenges, and still we paid out more dividends than in May. And that is an achievement. The biggest amount was about $7,000, and this person gets such dividends every time. Somebody gets 2,000, less or more, but for most investors that are just investing, dividends are becoming significant, and you can use this money to come your dreams true. You can buy something or have a travel, and a lot of partners who get dividends, they send this money to EYWA, and we think that that is correct way. And this is what we were going to all these 6 months. And now another cycle is beginning, and for you, for all the people who read our news and watch our webinar, it is not secret that this cycle will be connected with a venture fund. We will select projects. Part of them will be selected publicly. We will attract our partners to this process, and part of the projects we will select in commercial secret. So about all the deals we will conclude within our ecosystem, we will share with you. And this year we will have a lot of events, and we will tell about all of this. And the next stage of our strategy I'll talk about later. And as we talked in our conference, our task is, well, in the end of 2023, we were really great that our investment product, blockchain laboratory that was born inside EYWA, launched into mainnet, and everybody can have some transactions there and see if it's clear or maybe not clear. And we have started audit. It is a process after which launch into commercial mainnet take place. And after this, all the transactions will be safe. We are really glad that we have this, and investors allocated the first tokens, and we were glad for this one project that is potentially the first unicorn of ours. And we consider this investment as successful, And in conference, we also talk about what if in 2023, in the final webinar, we will be talking about dividends that will be paid out not only with the help of EYWA, but several more potential unicorns. So this is our goals for this year, to attract several, let's say 3-5 products that we are interested in terms of building of new digital world and digital personality. Anyway, everything what is going on in technology world leads us to cross of virtual and real. And our task will be to find these technologies. Of course, now our goal for the next 2 years is to fool it to $50 million. And when we feel it and grow our expertise, and of course, investments maybe not only on seed or pre-seed stage, but even now we have some agreement with another funds that we were making contacts when we were developing EYWA. We agree that we can invest together and select projects together. So our competence is growing, and our task to fill funds with liquidity by selling our securities. And we want to add to our ecosystem speed, because we are developing, we have high competence, we have a great company, great products, but still the world is developing much more faster. And if you look around, you will see a high flow of blockchain, and that is developing in artificial intelligence technologies, and it is connected with cryptocurrency market situation. But let me remind you that when we launched our system in 2019, we talked about building a digital personality. And now, when we have a competence in these spheres, we again go into information brand, GPT-4, 3, and a lot of projects are connected with these words. I hope you understand. But of course, the most important thing is artificial intelligence. And now we have built a foundation on which we can use these technologies and implement it. Now we have to, and we want to fill our fund with money, and we want to select fund, and we will do this half of year, and the second half we will present you the widening of our ecosystem. So this is the first part of our plans. And what else is important? Our road shows to Vietnam, Indonesia, in India in the end of the year. they led to incredible amount of contacts. We saw economics of the countries. We communicated with companies and teams in spheres of high technologies. And we understand that these countries are really promising in spheres we are interested. And we want to develop our partnership because that is what fills our funds with resources. And these countries are leaders in terms of amount of partners and disciplined partnership, which promotes our product, which close their installments, and we wanna do most to make it more strong. So the first direction is venture one, and our task to select projects in different countries that are appropriate for investments. And for this, we will have some months in India and Vietnam. And to do so that a partnership in these countries will lead to growth. And we are thinking of opening offices in these countries, and we have a big country that is ready to share information and skills, and now our task to fix ourselves in these countries. And I hope that we will have enough time to make it in Indonesia. And maybe some other countries. Well, okay. Let's go to your answers, questions. Firstly, I'll look for some questions in Russian chat. Let me remind you that we are broadcasting in several languages with simultaneous translation. I hope our translators do this correctly and have enough time. Okay, I see some message. In Russian chat. My dividends are about $49. This is less than last time. Well, yes. I said that dividends became more, but about $100. And for those people who closed their installments, let me remind you that since October or September, every our promotion, we added some terms. And we forced this idea about absorbing obligations. If you want to have tokens, please be sure you don't have overdue and you closed your installments. And this led to the fact that partners remembered about their obligations when they choose to buy package not at once but in installment. And a lot of people closed their installments before this promotion. And the last payment has a maximum amount of bonuses. And the growth of amount of partners and everybody who get their dividends in dollars, dividends are more, but in terms of packages, it seems a little bit less. And we have posted information about these dividends in our social media. Okay, hello. If there will be airdrop of tokens in new projects, for example, in EYWA. Okay. Our investments, firstly, will be connected with technologies that I've talked about, and not always such projects or technologies have tokens. And if we will plan investments in some crypto projects, that applies tokens. So how we will manage tokens? Part of them may be like an EYWA. But if, for example, there will be projects like digital avatar, there will not be any tokens. And we will sign contracts. And there we will allocate securities and money. Like what we'll do with this share, how we will get profit on this, how to do a cash out, and everything will be written there. The opportunities are greater. I talked about when I talked about tokens, about DigiU, for example. Look, if you have a security, they give you more opportunities than tokens or cryptocurrency. So securities are available, and you don't have to learn some new information. And so our task is to develop our network, and we add some more difficult mechanics. And you can pass some courses on cryptocurrency or other courses, and you can have a new profession. When EYWA will be listed in exchange? Well, last year ended with the start of audit. So this will last about 90 days. And after it, maybe we will have to make some changes. And our task is to launch into commercial mainnet. And in the first half of the year, TGE procedure will take place, we hope. So you can ask in EYWA chat. So when this event will take place, but it will be after token issue. Okay, let's go to international chats, and then maybe we will go back to Russian one. Is it possible that new partners will have EYWA tokens? Well, I'll remind you that in October we had two events that we called snapshot. So I guess that will be clear when we have some tokens to accrued to shares. Ecosystem DigiU invested and got 50 million tokens. And having 50 million tokens, about 8 million we have already allocated, and they are in your personal accounts. They are not tokens, actually, they are kind of futures, because tokens are not physical now. But after token issue, you can connect your wallets and you will see your tokens. And you can do everything with them. Will there be more allocations? Well, maybe. At least to round figure. Maybe we will allocate 2 more millions. What parts there will be and between what partners we will tell you later. Our task to have some balance. And we want that new partners have same chances as the old ones. And maybe these 2 more millions will be allocated between the packages that were purchased last half of year. We need to keep this balance. We've always done it. And I always ask you to follow our social media. Go to your personal account and follow news, not to miss anything. So now in the internet there are a lot of possibilities to buy shares of EYWA, but they are fakes. Sometimes some big channels have promotions about DigiU tokens. You can buy it, but they are not connected with our projects. Be careful and ask if it's true. But please don't buy anything until in our social media will be presented. Okay, next question. When you will visit Venezuela? Well, me personally, for me, Latin America was always interesting in terms of football and some events and in terms of culture. And if we look on investments and attracting of new partners and interesting projects, we can see a big activity there. Maybe this is our fault, because we have a big time difference, and maybe soon some leader will appear to develop this country, and it will make network more active. But I'm not ready to say that this year we are planning to go there, but we hope and we really want to visit this country and see our partners, how they are active. The current tendency in artificial intelligence, GTP, language programming in blockchain, what DigiU will do for artificial intelligence. Okay, about this very webinar. We have a webinar. I guess it was in autumn last year. We talked about GTP, and we get something needed for us. We applied it in wealth, in some predictions technologies, and the prediction was about 98% correct. Well, we have this technology, and maybe the technologies that are now developing will open the next stage of developing. But we are interested firstly in spheres in which we will invest. I'll explain you. Well, now investment market has kind of time of opportunities in venture funds. And though that venture hype that was last year ended, and for many venture funded it ended with losses. And the events, FTX, Terra Luna, fails, and all these events, they led to failure of many projects. And projects with cool technologies and breakthrough ideas that we are interested in. And before this, have an understanding that mostly they will get needed amount of millions, and in some moment we started to understand maybe they will not have these funds because there were not funds that agreed with them about investments. And we also faced this in EYWA when we have kind of silence. But projects are not stopping their development. We had a team. Okay, the project changes, maybe teams became less, an amount of people working there, but money that the funds have, they have different terms now. Well, one of the funds, it had $500,000, and we were offered 10%. And potentially, if we had free 500,000, we would invest this project. but together the same and make our own development without team expertise and skills and drivers, as a person who understands this technology, well, for 500,000, it would be more profitable to get this 10%. It is more profitable than create our own technology, because the speed is the most important thing here. And within our laboratories, we select prospective technologies. We only then invest. And now we are collecting our portfolio. Well, then questions about EYWA. So please visit our EYWA site in tokenomics department, and you will understand everything. You can also text to the chats. Okay, next question. When EYWA will be launched, cryptocurrency market is feeling better, but for us, this week of growing of the market is not a sign. And we will talk about it a bit later. What is going now and what is it? It is not clear for anybody. When a new road map will be available for the next several years? I guess it will be by the end of February, and we will publish it in English and Russian at least at our site. Thank you for this question. Okay. The most important is... Well. Okay, in Russian chat we have some correspondence. Well, if I don't see a question mark, I not always read, as I consider it is not a question. Okay, I see people thank us. Well, we had a promotion in the end of the year, kind of experiment, when we give an opportunity to partner to develop their own network. And we will see how this experiment will affect growth of network. Maybe we will include this option, because we had teams that were growing by attracting people, and those people were with high competence, and this increased profit. Well, we'll see. I guess there will be some ease of our partner program. But at least I can say that there will be kind of evolution of our partner program. So if you're here as an investor, you will feel in a correct place. Let me share my ideas. In the end of the last year, we launched whether it was X11 promotion about installment closement, or it was a promotion plus 50%, but one of the partners wrote me, Alexei, you have a lot of promotions. Are you going to sell your more securities? Are you interested in it? But I understand that, yes, crowd investing process implies sales of our securities, and we have 20 billions, that's 10% of our securities that we are implement in our crowd investing period. And that's why we have these activities and promotions. And that is why we have these webinars, and our task to have this connection between us and you, to understand each other, so that we can offer a profitable co-work into our ecosystem. Okay, next question, the final one. Is DigiU launch to exchange is still planned to 2025? Okay. In terms of economics, it will be appropriate to place securities publicly. We will do this, and in the end of last year, we started to through it all and SS company. We are doing everything that our products are in fact costs. Actual price. Well, the question about IPO, it is a question mostly about cash out. Somebody can sell it with profit. The options, there are a lot of options. It will be cash out opportunity that will be before 2025. So I guess that was a correct question, and I like to answer your questions, share plans, and read these correct questions. Thank you, be healthy, goodbye.